What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to the Corey Austin Theorem. Man, I feel like I hadn't seen you guys in forever. Well, I guess technically I don't ever see you, but hear from you guys quite a bit. The holidays, Thanksgiving, a lot going on, obviously, and my 2-year-old's sick, so we've kind of been having to pay extra close attention to him as well. So I just haven't been able to post in a while, but I wanted to drop a video for you guys and just say what's up. Hope everyone had a great holiday. On this channel, I talk about mainly Kratom and 7-hydroxy because it's something that has become so popularized in Western society, specifically in the United States, within the past decade or more. And ever since I've started this channel, the reason I started this channel is because I have a previous history with opiate misuse or abuse. For me, specifically, it was pain pills. And this was years ago, but let's just say I have that affinity for that sort of euphoric, opioid type feeling, right? So when I first discovered Kratom, which I'm pretty sure we were there for a completely different reason. I think my wife was picking up like a vape or something because we were going on vacation. And they had this big bright neon sign that said Kratom in the window, and I was like, wonder what that is. And went in there, decided, asked the person behind the counter what this was. Basically, they kind of gave me a brief rundown of it. I was like, and then of course I Googled it and confirmed that they were right. It says that it has opioid type effects. And of course, as soon as I saw that, I was like, I absolutely should not touch that stuff. But then I turned around and absolutely did. Immediately. I was like, what? Something that gives you an opioid type feel is available in public at this head shop, of which there are about 20 within a 5-mile radius of me? You're kidding. I absolutely should not try that. That's absolutely a slippery slope for a guy like me. Give me some. I'll take the one that's the 60-pack. That's basically what I did. And so that's what I talk about on here. I'm off of it right now. I actually got on and off a couple of times. Later on, graduated to the MIT 45s. Stayed on those for a little while. Got off. Went back to the powder, thinking, that's a little more controllable situation for me. And it was. But I kind of worked my way up to a little bit of an elevated amount that I wasn't really comfortable with. And at that point, I quit again. That time, I stayed off for quite a while, a good 8 or 9 months. And then my wife and I went on vacation. And then I, like a dumbass, decided to pick up some of the 7-hydroxy. I had tried it once before, couldn't really remember much about it, but I knew it was a Kratom-related product. And of course, it's that conversation, that combo that you have back and forth with yourself, like, I'm just going to do this on the vacation. I'm only going to be on vacation for 4 days. It's not going to kill me to pick up several packs of these and just be high my whole vacation, right? Didn't work out for me. Next thing I know, when I got back, and I'm assuming it's because, 1, they're so strong and they're so potent. 2, I was going so hard in the paint, using them very heavily. So by the time I got back after 4 days and started back work, I was already severely depressed, severely lethargic. I was like, wait, what the hell's going on here? Okay, well, let me just take a little bit less. I've been going kind of hard in the paint for almost a week. Let me just take a little bit less every day and kind of work my way down. Well, let's just say a few days turned into a week turned into a month. The next thing you know, I've been on the 7-hydroxy for a good 3 months. And being a guy who was once hooked on pain pills such as Percocets and Vicodins heavily, I'm a guy who should have known better. But also, I'm a guy who is prone to and susceptible to abusing stuff like that, right? Other things that I take, not so much. I can take like a THC supplement a couple times a week or something, like a pre-roll or something like that I might get from the head shop, or I'll, you know, have some of the THC gummies, and I'll just kind of microdose on it, take off a little nibble throughout the day every once in a while. But I can take it or leave that stuff, right? The Kratom, I can't seem to take it or leave it. It's one of those things where once I start doing it, it just kind of grabs a hold of me. The Kratom powder specifically, I had pretty good success of controlling it for the most part, and just kind of dosing on it several times a day and being okay with that. Might go a little harder in the paint on the weekend when we're out getting errands run and stuff like that. And then, you know, later on in the evening, I kind of stop taking it anytime after 4, sometimes 5, 6 o'clock throughout the rest of the evening and night. I wouldn't take the Kratom powder anymore. May have a drink or two, something light, you know, make a little bit of THC, something like that on a weekend night. But I would kind of just leave the Kratom alone after 4 or 5 o'clock, and I really would do that every day. And I never really had a lot of problems with the Kratom. I would sleep all the way through the night. Kratom powder, that is. I would sleep all the way through the night. Didn't have a whole lot of issue with that. It was when I graduated to the MIT 45s that things really kind of got out of hand for me. Increased my tolerance. Obviously, my tolerance spiked tremendously at that time. Damn, that moon is beautiful. Sorry, guys. I wish I could show it to you, but that would be hella dangerous. But, you know, that spiked my tolerance, obviously. And then after being on those for a month or two, it became very difficult to try to back your way out of what you've worked your way into, right? I try to go back to the powder, and I'm realizing, damn, you know, I'm having to take 25, 30 grams of powder per day to even come close to matching, you know, the amount of alkaloid I was getting in this MIT 45s. In other words, I'm still taking 25, 30 grams of Kratom powder per day, and I'm still having withdrawals after trying to quit the MIT 45s, right? And that's when I realized the extracts are no good. They're no bueno. They get your tolerance up too much, and I'm kind of the belief at this point, and I'll get back to the 7-hydroxy story, and I'm kind of the belief at this point that the 7-hydroxy is just no good. It's too powerful. It's too strong. It's too close to the strength of the original opioids like morphine and heroin and all that in the intensity of its high. It can be, especially if you're taking large amounts of it, and many people are. And it becomes incredibly hard to come off of. The withdrawals are horrible. In fact, back to the 7-hydroxy story, months ago, I had started taking that. Well, I'll say months ago. At this point, it's probably closer to a year. But I had started taking that, and it is the only thing in my life that sent me to a detox facility, that caused me to leave my family, go to a detox facility so that I could get clean off of this really strong, powerful, insidious substance that I was heavily physically dependent upon and addicted to, right? And when I wouldn't have it, just after a few hours, I already started feeling some really severe withdrawal effects, right? And so I did that back in August. It's been like close to maybe 3.5 months at this point since I went to detox. Been able to stay off of 7-hydroxy and Kratom in that time. I'm not completely abstinent, and you'll find that I don't necessarily preach complete abstinence on here, although that might be the best thing for some people. But I do keep it light though. A little bit of drinking here and there. I do have a prescription for Klonopin, but I only get 30 per month, and it's only a 0.5 milligram. So I have one low milligram dosage of Klonopin, which is a benzodiazepine that I can take at night to help me sleep. I don't even take it every night. I usually skip at least 2-3 nights throughout the week, just so that I'm not taking it consistently every night, and I don't seem to have a problem on the nights that I'm not taking it. I guess because I'm not taking it a lot. I'm not taking it at all throughout the day. It's just a one time per day sort of thing. And I think that kind of helps not really develop a physical dependence on that, because I do know that benzos can be dangerous as well, but I'm just not at a very high dose of it. And a little bit of THC product here and there, a little bit of alcohol on the weekends, and that's about the extent of it for me, right? Kind of been staying away from the Kratom products. I can't sit here and say I'll never take the Kratom powder again. If I ever do start taking any sort of product like that again, it would definitely be the Kratom powder over the 7-hydroxy, over the MIT 45 extracts, over any of that stuff. But because I just know myself, and I know my experiences with each of them, and undoubtedly the Kratom powder tends to be way easier to control, at least for me, right? So if you enjoy this sort of content, a guy just being real, a guy just kind of telling his story about things, subscribe to the channel. A lot of people have expressed to me that it's just hearing someone's experience with this sort of thing that's most helpful. You don't have to have this, succinct, well thought out speech planned every time you get on here. I'm just telling you my experience. I have a lot of experience with different substances, all the way from marijuana back in the day to alcohol to messing around with benzodiazepines, of course the pain pills. I had my stint with Adderall, and that was including crushing them. And back when I used to produce music back in the day, I did a lot of that. We'd stay up for 2-3 days at a time, not sleeping, doing that to Adderall and producing music. And that's how we roll. So I have a lot of experience with different things, and I'm just giving my experience on it. And I'm a guy who's been fortunate enough to survive it. And I feel like God let me survive all the dumb things that I've done for a reason. And I feel like it's to kind of expand knowledge on, what Kratom is, what the adulterated versions of it are, and kind of to caution people, especially on the adulterated versions. And I believe that the Kratom raw powder itself is doable if a person is smart with it, and some people are, and I've been there and I've been smart with it. I think that is the only way that Kratom can really be used somewhat responsibly. Otherwise, the adulterated versions, the extracts, I believe you're opening up Pandora's box for a lot of us, and I think it's dangerous. But to expand on, this is the reason that you're seeing the 7-hydroxy start to get banned in many places. I know multiple states, Florida, I think California, there's others as well. I don't, know them. I can't rattle them off the top of my brain, but a lot of places are looking at that stuff, right? So if you're on it, probably a good idea to try to figure out a way to either wean yourself off of it slowly in something like a taper, or strap yourself in, pull yourself up by your bootstraps, settle in for some intense pain for a few days with the physical withdrawals. That the level of those withdrawals will vary depending on how much you're taking and how often you're taking it, that sort of thing. Everyone kind of knows that at this point. If you're taking a whole lot every day, the withdrawals are going to suck. I was taking a whole lot every day. It was up to probably 500-600 milligrams per day of it. A lot. And the withdrawals for the very first night that I was there, because they couldn't start me on Suboxone until the following morning. So I went for a total of about 18 hours when I first got to the detox facility without taking any 7-hydroxy. I was taking that shit every 2 hours, easily. Sometimes before the 2-hour mark, I was taking it. Heavily addicted. So my withdrawals were absolutely horrific. That's the only and best way to describe it. Absolutely horrific. But yeah, just sharing my experience. I think for a lot of people, if you're anything like me, probably best to stay away from the harder, adulterated, Kratom-esque sort of products. I realize it's not technically Kratom, but it is made from the same alkaloids, and it's significantly stronger and more potent than is Kratom powder. So, be smart about the way you use stuff. Be smart about the way you use stuff. And if you need some healing, do the work necessary. You don't have to be 100% abstinent, but do the work necessary to move on past anything that you might have done or harm that you might have caused to people in your addiction. Make some amends. Apologize to some people. First and foremost, apologize to yourself. Start exercising. Start eating healthy. Start learning to moderate your use via, positive behavioral management techniques. It is possible. It is doable. Maybe not for everyone, but for a lot of people it is. Alright, I'm going to stop rambling. Love you guys very much. Again, if you would please subscribe to the channel, like the video, comment down below. Damn, that moon is looking amazing. I have to pull out the binoculars when I get to the crib. I think I already said subscribers. Yeah, do all that. Comment, let me know where you're at. And yeah, thanks for supporting the channel. Oh yeah, if you want to hit this thanks button, drop a little cash to your boy. Look, I'll take it. I mean, I got money. I've got a job. My wife and I both work hard. I'm not broke, but time is money, and I spend time on this channel. So if it's done anything to help you at all, toss your boy a couple of bones. No biggie for you, right? But you have no idea how much that might can help me. All right. Love you guys. I will see you on the next one. Thanks so much for watching. Peace.